Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech. Welcome back to another episode of Caffeine Crypto, where I encourage you, welcome you, whatever you want to say, to grab your favorite caffeinated beverage of choice as we go over this week's crypto news every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Currently, can't get Coin 360 to work for my life, but you can see a lot of things are down. Bitcoin is down to 113K. Ethereum's down to 3,400. XRP below $3. BNB back to around 750. Stellar. Litecoin's actually up a little bit. It's a little green today. Besides some stable coins, Ton is up to $3.57. Doge is back down below 20 cents. So we had a lot of our coins fall due to almost, 900, well, it was 900 million in liquidations across the market. As the Fed did not cut rates, continued to pause. We might get a rate cut in September, and so that might be the catalyst. But of course, to summarize the situation, the rates are being paused. The White House is still pushing out positive sentiment and news with new policies, new updates, new planning. The SEC is trying to work out this framework. A lot of good positive momentum is here, but the price appreciation is just not, right? So a lot of these risk assets, which is what Bitcoin is being hurt until we have a rate cut. Once we have that rate cut, Jerome Powell or the Fed cut the rates, hopefully in September. I believe that's going to be a catalyst for that next leg up. And normally what we see in September is, September, October, November turns out to be really, really green. And then we start to pull back a little bit in December and then push back up in January, February with a little bit of chop in between. There's always going to be chop in between, but you can see right now the week is very red, right? This is the daily, the Bitcoin chart on the daily. And we started this week off July 27th. And you can see July 27th, while it was a green day, if we measure from the high here of Monday all the way to the bottom, that's a 5.76. So we only dropped 5.76%. Now, is it the end of the world? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, right? Again, we had some very positive momentum pushing up to that new all-time high of 123,000. And then we chopped sideways, and as we consolidated, the altcoins started to catch up and do really good. But now all coins have fallen. If we switch off to the monthly, this is where we're going to talk about what I'm looking at here, right? I'm again, as I said in the last video, I am hoping for August to be a surprising month. But that could be instead where the surprising month that I'm talking about is a negative month. I was really hoping for a green month, but I am, again, 60-40. 60% that it could pull back, 40% that it could just shock me and go up and make a new all-time high. Because historically, August is a red month. But it could do the opposite this time. There's a lot of different variables with the ETFs and the overall environment that Bitcoin is in is completely different. So you can be shocked. Now let's look for September, right? So on the 24th, in 2024, September, October, November were super green, especially this candle here in November. If we go back to 2023, right? It actually started again. It started off in September, October, November, went to December, went to January, went to February, went to March. Will we have something like that in 2026? I believe so. I'm more in the sentiment that I believe we will. Let's go look at 2022. You can see 2022, September was red. Even though September historically, if we zoom out, is a green month, it was a red month in 2022. Had some pullback in September, October, November, December, and then January we started to pick up. Now that was when Bitcoin was around 16K. Those days are long gone, right? Again, the environment that Bitcoin is in has completely changed. Okay, so let's go beyond 2022, right, where we saw those were red months. Let's go to 2021, September, October. So August was a green month in 2021. Could we have that? Could we have that? Because you can see right now, August is in a red, but July in 2025, July, June, May, and April have all been green, marching to the new all-time high. So is this our red month where we cool off? Because typically, if you notice at the chart, there's some periods in here where we had over 4 candles, right? So this one's like, what is this? 4, 5, 6, 7 green candles. So consecutively from September 2023 all the way to March 2024. But usually we have like maybe 4 green candles and then a pullback, or 3 green candles and then a pullback. So maybe August is our cool off period. Let things catch up, let things kind of accumulate, and then blast off September, October, November with a mild pullback in December around Christmas for people to recoup all the money they spent. So back to 2022. Yeah, so that was the red, 1 green in October, red, and that was at the bottom at 16K. 2021. We see September was a red month. October was a super green month. And then November, December, January, we started to pull back, stuff like that. Historically speaking, September can be green, but there's always a chance that everybody on the internet is wrong. And Bitcoin likes to do what it wants, when it wants. So I completely am prepared. I'm not going to say it's going to go absolutely this way or the other, but I am mentally, physically, and financially prepared for whichever route it goes. And one of the biggest concerns I have, and let's go back to the main Bitcoin chart. I am flip-flopping between USDT and USD. But I want to draw your attention to the volume, ladies and gentlemen. If we zoom out here, right, you can see the volume. Again, this is a very big indicator here. The amount of volume that was happening in 2021, even obviously 2027. And even way back here in 2015 is super high relative to what this volume is, right? So the current volume in the spot Bitcoin market is very, very low. And that's what retail would normally go through. When you execute a trade on Cash App, I'm pretty sure they're using some spot market system. Jesus loves me, I can't talk today. But yeah, the volume is just low. So most of what we've been gaining has been a little bit of retail through various methods, but primarily through the ETS. So if we have a rate cut in September, strong ETF inflows, and the sentiment about the trade bullcrap between country to country settles down, and we continue to receive clarity about blockchain and crypto regulations here in the US and across. Like, we want it to be clear in the EU and our fellow countries in India and wherever you are. Like, we want companies and banks and governments to understand that Bitcoin is here to stay. Blockchain is here to stay. Instead of fighting it, work with it and build a framework that protects your citizens but still allows them to build that generational wealth. Then we could have a huge blast off. And I believe Bitcoin is on track for that strongly. Moving on to the news, if we swap off of this chart here, you can see, again, we pulled back only 5.76%, all well good. If we did fall at all, let's say right now we're on the EMA, I think 50, yeah, 20, 50, 100, 200. If we did fall from where we are, because we did bounce off the 50, which was about 112,000. Next one down about 4%, 108. Next one down about 101, maybe 102,000. And then coming back to this legacy line would put us at 94,000. Now, that's only a 16% fall from where we are right now. But I do believe there's a lot of buying, like people on the sidelines, people just chilling right now, that would pick up the slack before it gets to 94. But that is, again, mentally preparing yourself in the realm of possible. Moving on to the news. 713 million worth of Bitcoin and crypto longs liquidated and that number climbed up. In the article later, you're going to see 900 million. It might even be 1 trillion, but it certainly climbed up But anyways, the point being is that the crypto longs liquidated as Bitcoin dips below 114. We obviously dipped down all the way to 112,000, I think was the low. Yeah, basically like 113 was the low, but like it was like 112 and 900 and some change. But that liquidation at time of writing happened over the 24-hour time frame, and with Bitcoin and crypto traders on major exchanges like Binance and OKX bearing the brunt of the losses, the sharp decline came with renewed macro concerns, particularly fresh U.S. tariff proposals that rattled global markets. Market technicals have deteriorated notably, with Bitcoin's Coinbase premium turning negative this week for the first time in nearly 2 months, according to CryptoQuant data. This shift, coupled with a 13% drop in Bitcoin futures open interest on CME from July highs, the options market has also turned cautious, with Bitcoin's 30-day skew flipping from 3 to 1.5%, indicating stronger demand for downside protection. Right? The cooling sentiment follows a substantial wave of profit taking in late July, which realized profits ranging between 6 to 8 billion. Institutional selling pressure intensified around July 15th, with approximately 10 billion worth of Bitcoin that changed hands over the counter, triggering a 4% decline. Adding to the downward pressure, the miners liquidated roughly 15,000 Bitcoin, following a recent all-time high, suggesting that even long-term holders are taking advantage of elevated prices to secure profits, to cover overhead, to pay the bill. Right? These large institutions got warehouses upon warehouses upon warehouses of miners, and they got to pay their bills. They don't wait for Bitcoin to make a new all-time high and be like, yeah, sure, you can pay me in 2 years when you know you 3x, 4x your money. Anyways, despite the sharp pullback, institutional appetite for Bitcoin continues to grow. Japanese hotel firm MetaPlanet announced plans to raise up to 3.7 billion through a preferred stock offering to accelerate its Bitcoin accumulation strategy. The company aims to acquire 210,000 Bitcoin by 2027, which would require increasing its current holdings of 17,132 BTC more than 12-fold. So again, there's a lot of companies that's doing this. A lot of companies, institutions, banks, whatever, hedge funds doing this. This Japanese company is saying they want to buy 210,000 Bitcoin by 2027, but they only have 17,000. Right? A lot of them are projecting to have X amount of Bitcoin, but they only have so much right now. So that means they have to buy. They have to continue to buy. And that appetite, coupled with rate cut, coupled with easing trade tensions, coupled with retail investment in ETF inflows, is the catalyst that's going to launch Bitcoin to these targets that people are calling for. People are still calling for 150, 175, 200,000, $250,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2025. So hang tight, dollar cost average. Don't panic. Everything will be okay. These are just healthy pullbacks. The institutional buying spree has helped maintain Bitcoin's price above 100,000 despite today's volatility. The total market value of publicly traded companies holding Bitcoin have now exceeded 100 billion, with new entrants joining the space almost weekly as they continue to set out these goals to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. Bitcoin dives to a low of 112,600 as crypto carnage grips the market. It dipped 3% versus the US dollar, hitting an intraday low of 112,680. After that dip, the leading crypto asset by market cap bounced back, rising just above 113,000. Crypto markets took a beating today, with crypto economy shrinking 3.39% to 3.6 trillion. Remember, we almost hit 4 trillion, or I think we hit 4 trillion during those highs, by Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Currently, Bitcoin is hovering around 113,033, which right now we are at 113,476. And it is based on the global average. However, in South Korea, BTC is trading at a premium, changing hands for 113,987 per coin at the same time. Different exchanges have different prices for Bitcoin. And sometimes it's not going to be on Bitcoin, but there are ways for you to use the different exchanges that have different prices for different assets to kind of leverage that. They just usually get you on the withdrawal fees or the maker taker fees or the deposit bullshit, and it like delays. So by the time you're ready to execute your trade, you mess up. But if there's one exchange that has one asset at a premium and one exchange that has it at a super low discount, you can technically buy from one exchange and then flip it at the other. But again, the exchanges use different tactics to discourage that, and will usually mess you up with fees, withdrawal fees, delays in getting your withdrawals, so on and so forth. But anyways, prior to Bitcoin's drawback, which stuck around July 8th, 24 days, has vanished, making BTC South Korea 0.843 pricier today. While Bitcoin slipped 3%, Ethereum's values also plummeted around 7%, currently exchanging hands around $3,463, which right now is $3,490. So all coins, has fallen down. We lost basically 0.4 trillion, right? So it's a significant amount. Beyond Bitcoin, a slew of other digital assets also had a tough day. BNB dropped almost 5%, XRP 3%, Solana 6.6%, and then Tron or TRX lost 1%. Doge also took in a hit at 5.6%. ADA fell 4.6%. So all tokens, including Pump 1.65, Leo 0. Or ENA 0.9, Leo climbed a mere 0.2%, and some of these meme coin altcoins did climb up while others suffered, but a majority of the market is just down. If we go to CoinMarketCap, you're going to see a lot of red on the right hand side. Again, typical, right? Besides the USD tokens or the stable tokens, just red. So we're good. It will be fine. The point being is a lot of things, everything's pretty much down. All right. Bitcoin price dip shakes trader confidence. Is the 2025 bull run in danger? I personally think it is not, but I will be interested to hear your thoughts, whether you're watching this live or after the show. Do you think the bull market is done? Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and throw up a poll real quick for you guys on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on X or Twitch, I thank you so much for stopping by. But yeah, is the bull run in danger? I think it could be from like a trade war perspective, if that's what we want to call it. But this is just a healthy pullback in my opinion. So poll is up on YouTube if you want to weigh in over there. Feel free to join us. SerpentX Tech on YouTube and most platforms. But Bitcoin derivatives data show no evidence the 2025 bull run is over, despite Bitcoin price sliding to lower support levels below 115,000. BTC options signal caution, but not an outright bearish market shift. Bitcoin's ETF outflows and futures premiums show neutral to bearish sentiment, but not panic or no panic. Right? Even though Bitcoin fell to that 114,000, 113,000 low, suggesting over 200 million in liquidations of leveraged bullish positions, and hurting sentiment in BTC derivatives market, investors appear to be losing confidence after 3 straight weeks of failing to hold prices above 120K. But does this mean the bull run's over? Now, failing to hold that 120K market or spot, I was talking about that on X, if you guys want to follow me there, and warning, and I believe some of my colleagues, not in the mining space, but the traditional crypto sphere, I believe we're in line with what I was seeing. If Bitcoin could not hold over 120K, we were going to fall back, and that's exactly what happened. We dipped down to 119, 118. We couldn't break back up over 120. The bears were continuing to hold us down, and if we would have kept that 120K level, I think we would have continued on with our bullish trajectory on a shorter time frame. So we would have short term continue to push up higher, probably making a new high, 130,000, whatever. But because we couldn't, we have pulled back. But this is just going to make us stronger for that next leg up, in my opinion, as people accumulate, as the market moves sideways, that everybody prepares for that next charge upwards, right? So under normal conditions, Bitcoin monthly futures trade around 5 to 10% premium compared to spot prices to cover the longer sentiment period. The current 6% premium is the lowest in 4 years, showing weaker demand for leveraged bullish positions. While this is not strongly bearish, it signals reduced confidence despite high institutional demand. Despite all the banks and all the companies and all the various hedge funds or whatever it is saying, hey, we want to buy 300,000 Bitcoin, we're only at 12,000. We're going to be buying Bitcoin for as much as we possibly can. There's and the strong sentiment or the strong environment that the U.S. White House, and I believe even some of the leadership in the EU, are developing by coming out with regulations, coming out with bills, coming out with structure and clarity. Despite all that good news, it's still not enough to push us up even higher. Bitcoin's trading only 7% below the 123,000 high from July 14th, but gold remained near the 33,000 or 3,350. Yeah, 3,350 range, unchanged from 2 weeks earlier. Many Bitcoin investors expect the digital gold asset to move independently as the global trade war escalated, yet the opposite happened. And it was for a minute there, but we're back again to whatever the stocks are doing, we're doing too, unfortunately. After a short period of time in late June, when Bitcoin moved differently from the S&P 500, the correlation between the two has climbed above 70% in the past 3 weeks. Instead of acting like digital gold, Bitcoin is now trading more like a high-risk tech stock. This may also explain why its 2.3 trillion market value is close to that of Amazon or Google. It's acting like a tech stock. And why is it acting like a tech stock? Because so many of the suits and the institutions have got involved in Bitcoin, and the whole purpose of Bitcoin was to be an avenue for the regular Joe, the average person, to protect their financial wealth against the failures of banks and governments. It's exactly the opposite of what Satoshi envisioned, and now the suits are involved, and now the big 1% are involved, and so of course it's going to act like a tech stock. Of course. This is why Satoshi withdrew their name from the paper the moment the FBI wanted to question. This is why Satoshi disappeared. This is why we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto's real identity is. So everybody can speculate all they want. But they saw this coming. They saw this coming and they wanted no part of it. They created this project for the people, and it's becoming more and more, well, to be honest, it's still the people's money. You know, what the only reason I say that is even though we have a lot of institutions and banks and centralized individuals that own a lot of Bitcoin, a majority of the Bitcoin is still held and owned by an individual. A majority of Bitcoin out there in circulation is still, well, not even in circulation because it's being held. It hasn't been on the charts or in the market for a long time. It's still being held by an individual, a retail investor. Just FYI. So the suits haven't completely taken over. It's just from the day trading perspective. Yeah, if we're all sitting back hanging on to our Bitcoin and the only trading that's happening is the suits, is the tech bros, is the ETFs, then of course it's going to move like a tech stock. The shift is not necessarily negative. Investors view changes over time and global events such as U.S. Tariffs, disputes, and increasing the money supply affect every market. If traders think that job market is getting weaker, they often seek safety in cash and short-term bonds. Demand for the one-year Treasury, U.S. Treasury, has reached its highest level in 3 months, with investors accepting lower yields. This is happening as the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics revised May and June's job reports downward, while unemployment rose 4.2% in July from 4.1% a month earlier. Traders now show less confidence in BTC above 114,000. Right? There's a lot of just uncertainty, right? A lot of uncertainty. Everybody wants to make money now. Everybody wants get rich quick now. And everybody's optimizing their gains now, right? While you and I are preparing for the long haul, the long game. That's what we're preparing for. I understand day trading, and I know it can make you good money, and I know leverage and options and all that stuff can make you good money. I respect it, and I respect your hustle. But I am not in a position to where I can spend cash or capital like that. I am in a position to accumulate and hold for long-term wealth, to build for my family, and to retire hopefully earlier than I'm expecting. If I had the play money that you guys have, and when I say you guys, not my viewers, but the people that have that shit, you know, 100 grand a weekend on whatever bullcrap vice they might have, then yeah, I most certainly would be in the day trading space trying to maximize that. But the only way that I can maximize mine $15 a day take that 15, stack it up over time, and then take that, $100 that I made over a month and then try to trade that into other assets that might pan off in the future. So I'm taking what I mine, I'm taking a percentage of it, and I'm trying to accumulate more assets, or the assets that I deem that will pop in the future or do well in a future bull market, and trying to just diversify myself as best as possible. So anyway, so investor sentiment just took a hit after 115 million in net outflows from spot Bitcoin ETFs on Thursday, ending 5 days of consecutive inflows. On the positive side, MicroStrategy announced that Thursday's plans to issue a 4.2 billion stock offering, which will help prevent large Bitcoin sales and maintain stability in derivatives markets. Judging only from the derivatives data, there is no sign that the 2025 bull run has been canceled or that traders are overly concerned about the recent price decline. In summary, that's what that statement says. Moving on, these two indicators suggest Bitcoin could soon double. The two indicators are the global money supply and the strength of the US dollar. Those are your two indicators. Not going to read too much from this article, but that's pretty much it. A lot of people like to see how the US dollar is doing. Is it strong? Is it weakening? How's the money supply doing? Everybody's expecting Bitcoin to go up, but until these trade situations are addressed, or everybody's simmered down or agreed to terms and gets a good deal for both sides, until those trade tensions are settled, you're going to continue to have this type of environment. I know the White House wants Jerome Powell to cut rates, but Jerome Powell is not going to cut rates until we have certainty about the trades, right? A company cannot function if the material it's sourcing, they don't know what the price of that material is going to be a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, right? There needs to be consistency and certainty in the market overall, from an investor perspective, from a marketing perspective, from a manufacturing perspective. All of that needs to be, hey, this is what we can expect, so we can create projections. Our company is going to be negative for the next 3 years because we're a startup, but then by year 4 we'll be ahead 20%. By year 5 we'll be ahead 30%. Like the tariffs and the uncertainty that the tariffs cause is the biggest thing. The tariffs themselves, I probably don't care too much about, but the uncertainty the tariffs bring is what's hurting the market. And again, Jerome Powell and the Fed is not going to cut rates unless we get that certainty back. You guys can argue amongst yourselves about what you agree and what you disagree with, but that's not the point. If we want Bitcoin to be good, we're going to need a rate cut. If we want, Bitcoin is good. Excuse me, my words were wrong. If we want Bitcoin to have that next major push up, we're talking 150,000 plus by the end of Q4 2025. We're going to need a rate cut. We're going to need decent ETF inflows. We're going to need understanding or a mutual deal on the tariff situation. And we should be good for blast off, really. Obviously keep an eye on the M2 money supply is a big thing. I know a lot of people, Red Panda talks about it too. That's a good indicator to keep an eye on if you're looking for that next leg up. And every major crypto bull cycle, like in 2013, 2017, 2021, a falling value of the DXY preceded or paralleled Bitcoin's advance. Right? So the strength of the dollar fell or was parallel for Bitcoin to take that leg up. So that's what you're looking for, along with keeping an eye on the M2 money supply. And the global money supply has been growing, right? It climbed to 55.5 trillion in July, reclaiming the growth trend that paused in 2023. That matters because Bitcoin historically tracks M2 growth with a loose but meaningful correlation. When liquidity accelerates, investors have more capital to deploy into scarcer assets, and Bitcoin's hard cap of 21 million coins makes it an obvious candidate on that front. Central banks have also been greasing the wheels here. India's Reserve Bank has already slashed its repo rate and cut its reserve requirements to inject cash into the market. China's central bank has committed to a fairly loose stance, preparing further liquidity injections to shore up demand domestically. Those moves echo shifts at other major central banks and point to a broad, synchronized easing cycle, which will send the money supply even higher. And then that, if we assume trends stick, right? They don't often repeat, but they often rhyme, as K-Dub says. But assuming Bitcoin supply maintains its historical elasticity to rising liquidity, a 1% jump in the global money to M2 growth has often translated into 65% or higher returns for the coin within the following 12 to 18 months. So starting from today's 118,000 price tag, which obviously is not today, even a conservative reading of that relationship suggests a doubling towards 240,000. There's your 250, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, there's your 250. Even if it was at 113 today or 114 today. What they're saying is a 1% jump in the M2 money supply often translates to 65% or higher returns for Bitcoin over a 12 to 18 month period. So that means in 2026, right? If we switch over to the monthly, in 2026, if we had from now, let's see, where are we at here? So October 2026, it would be 12. So let's say middle of 2027. So April 2027. 65%, 178,000. And I think I did that a little lower than where we were. So let's try that again. So the price is right here. Let's say spring 2027. Yeah, 190,000. So they say 240. I'm saying 200,000 basically. That's what I'm looking at. 200,000. But those are your two indicators to look at: the M2 money supply and the strength of the dollar. Now, we did a show or a video on this recently. I'm just gonna cover it real quick. But quantum threat to Bitcoin. 80,000 Bitcoin just moved after 14 years. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if my boy Mike is moving some stuff around, because they got so many business ventures that they're working with and trying to do. So they might be taking profits to help build a new company or organization, or to fund a mining location, or to whatever, right? I wouldn't be surprised my boy Mike's doing it. And I don't have any problems if the original owner is the one behind moving the funds around. I did raise some concerns again in the video. If a centralized, government-sponsored, state-sponsored organization that has access to significant quantum tech that may not be publicly available, and again, we're not talking about college institutions and the quantum computers they could get up and running for a couple thousand. We're talking about state-sponsored, government-sponsored machinery and quantum tech that, you know, could be cracking these legacy wallets and just taking the funds. The original owner doesn't have access to it anymore. Maybe they lost a hard drive, like the gentleman in the UK that's in the junkyard or in the trash pile. So they crack it and, you know, they take it. I did a video on this. It's not popular. It's not a hot topic. It's not sexy, but it's just something that I wanted to bring to your attention. I don't think it's the real threat of today, which I talk about in that video, and I talk about what the actual threat to Bitcoin is today, but it is something that I wanted to talk about because it is a concern for the future, and there's already things happening to help protect Bitcoin. But another article came out. You know, that's a significant amount of Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. If we go and look that up, what is $80,000? Even if the market's down today, what is 80,000 Bitcoin? You know, that's a lot of numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 9 trillion. That's a lot of money. So we'll see. Check out the video when you get a chance. I haven't linked it anywhere, but it's on the channel. Bitcoin's quantum threat. Bitcoin news. Bitcoin miners move another 30 million after 15 years of dormancy, right? Some of these legacy miners are moving funds. Now, here's what I think is another thing that a lot of people don't think of. Maybe they're not moving to an exchange, they're moving to a different wallet. Because as I talk about in my video, those legacy wallets have their public keys data dumped somewhere out there. And if the quantum computers or the crackers that use supercomputers can break the private keys or decipher the private keys out of those public keys that are already out there, then they can crack those legacy wallets. But if you move to a newer format of wallet, you should be fine. And there should be a future format of wallet that will be more resistant to the threat of quantum, decryption. So maybe they're just moving it because it's safer, and that wallet's so old that public key is in a data dump somewhere on the dark web that somebody's already been trying to crack into. So we don't know if they're going to exchanges. I think some of them did drop off some funds in exchanges, but it could just be, them moving things around. And again, this could be our boy Mike trying to cover their, bills or build a new facility or do something great for the crypto community or take care of their family, whatever. Like, it could be our friends, OGs in the space, just moving things around. 250 Bitcoin, by the way, is 28 million right now. Could you use that money? Absolutely. Could I use that money? Absolutely. So if our brothers and sisters are out there moving their funds around, great. If they're moving it around, again, to a newer wallet just to protect it from being decrypted sooner rather than later, then good. They're being smart. They're trying to secure their assets. A lot of Satoshi era crypto are being moved, right? And each address originally received 50 Bitcoin as a mining reward in April 2010. Again, this could be our boys, our brothers and sisters out there that are just moving things around. It's when you get somebody that doesn't even have ownership of the wallet, never had ownership of the wallet, and was able to crack into that wallet, unless it was for a game, and there are games out there, and then the owner doesn't even realize it, and 10 years from now, they go to log in and be like, hey, I'm ready to finally retire. And their wallet's drained because they never paid attention to it. They don't keep an eye on it. That would really suck. But yeah, people could mine in the early days with their CPU and GPUs. And after 15 years of inactivity, 250 Bitcoin worth around 30 million, close to 30 million, have been moved. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Receiving 50 Bitcoin as a mining reward back in the day. You guys would flip your crap if you could do that right now. You would flip your crap. 3.25 is all you're getting every block. And good luck hitting that block. But guess what? You are. Ladies and gentlemen, solo mining is not dead. Solo mining is very much here. And recently, we just had somebody with only a measly 40-ish terahash hit a Bitcoin block. That is amazing. Congratulations to the winner. Do not disclose who you are. I do not want to see you get kidnapped or anything like that. You do not have to share your investment with people. Protect yourself, protect your family. But congratulations, baby. 40 terahash, and they hit 3.25 Bitcoin, which at time of filming is only 360,000, but only? You know how many McChickens I could buy with that? You know the debt I could pay off with that? So congratulations. Solo mining is not dead. It is a very, very rare thing. You're more likely to get struck by lightning unless you're Christopher Vega than win a Bitcoin block. But somebody did it. And congratulations. And previously, before that, somebody did hit a Bitcoin block, but that had about 2 petahash on it. I'm talking about the one. This is actually it, right? So earlier in July, another miner with 2.3 petahash was able to hit a block. But I'm talking about the most recent one, which hit it with around 40 terahash, right? That is insane. Super stoked for the winner. And some of you running your bid axes in a swarm, some of you running your future bid Apollos, some of you using your Gecko Science or your Bitcoin merch, Compact F, USB miners. Bro, hun, sister, brother, go for it. 12 watts, 20 watts, 100 watts. Are you really concerned about that? At a chance for a random Bitcoin block? My electricity bill is high, but my bill is high because I got big boy miners. I want to upgrade them to be more efficient so I don't have to draw as much electricity, but you'd best believe I'm solo mining. We showed off the Jingle Miner recently, which is basically like a BitX Gamma, but it's like a NerdX version. We got multiple bit axes. We got multiple nerd Q axes. The future bit Apollo, while I was struck by lightning, is still living, still hashing, still solo mining. The Canon device, which does around that 40, and that's what I thought it was. I thought it was a Canon Mini 3 because the hash rate matched pretty closely, but it could be just a group of small miners collectively adding up to around 40 terahash. But basically, a person with a Canon Mini 3 level of hash rate hit a Bitcoin block, making $300,000 randomly. So congrats. Moving on, crypto wobbles into August as Trump's new tariffs triggers sell-offs and sentiment. We already talked about this previously, right? It's unfortunate. Hopefully these guys can get a deal done between China and the U.S. that's beneficial for the people of the U.S. and the people of China, so we can put all this behind us and move forward and stop with the uncertainty. We need consistency. We need certainty. We need guarantees. As an economy to function, businesses cannot go on a day-to-day whim expecting prices of the material they need to go up or down or whatever. We need consistency. So obviously, as we talked before, everything is down. Most of the mining stocks like Coinbase, Circle, Galaxy Digital, Bitmine, Immersion, MicroStrategy, everything is down. And that's obviously because of everything we talked about at the beginning of this video. If you don't check out the live stream, you should at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But it's basically the Fed rate is not being cut. We're still paused. What is the probability of being cut in the future? Hopefully in September we'll get one. And because of the trade tensions, all markets are currently down. Now, Ethereum was doing really good relative to Bitcoin. And you can see on this chart here, net inflows to Ether and Bitcoin ETF. So Bitcoin is in the teal. And look at Ether. This is a nice sharp incline, right? So from May, from May 2025 until recently, we went from 564 million up to 5.43 billion. So somebody is super excited about Ethereum. How is that going to pan out? Because I know a lot of my mining brothers and sisters out there have already got rid of their Ethereum because they didn't like the way that Ethereum treated the miners that helped build the foundation for Ethereum to be as great as it is today, to be that number 2 token, and kind of left us like a bad habit. I know a lot of you sold your Ethereum, but maybe you have Pepe. Maybe you have another Ethereum asset that could appreciate with Ethereum moving up. So we'll have to wait and see how things go. But that's just something of interest to us. We're going to watch this video here in a second. Let me end the poll. So ending the poll now. And just to repeat, the question was, is the 2025 bull run in danger? 56% said no. 43% says yes. So we're at like a 60-40 type situation, but we're doing good. Don't forget, shortly after this show, Red Panda will be going live. Oh, is Crypto Silver live right now? I had no idea. He should know I go live around this time, and I would have redirected to them. But anyways, Red Panda Mining is going to go live after this show, and we'll see how things go. I will redirect you myself. You don't need to go anywhere. Just hang tight, grab your coffee, grab your energy drink as we continue on. But the same shit, different day. Everything we talked about at the beginning, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP sync as crypto liquidations top $900 million, right? So basically, I would say around 1 trillion total. But all tokens are down. SEC debuts Project Crypto to bring U.S. financial markets on chain. So we're talking about the banks and various financial systems on chain. The Securities and Exchange Commission on Thursday debuted Project Crypto, an initiative to modernize security regulations to allow for crypto-based trading. The announcement comes amid a surge of interest in tokenization. I hope everything doesn't get tokenized. I hope everything doesn't get tokenized, and I hope everything doesn't get a fucking ETF. Let's not put an ETF on fucking everything, please. But anyways, in the process, tokenization in the process of issuing digital representation on a blockchain of a publicly traded security or other asset. So RWAs, basically, real-world assets. SEC Chair Paul Atkins discussed the importance of preventing crypto companies from being driven offshore by one-size-fits-all rules, right? Just like Gary was doing, pushing everybody offshore, leaving the country, stuff like that, trying to bring back those markets, try to bring back those companies. But yeah, Project Crypto is their new initiative. So kind of bringing the securities rules up to speed with modern regulations, modern, guidelines, so to speak. They state here, I believe this is Paul Atkins saying this, to achieve DJT's vision of making America the crypto capital world, the SEC has historically considered the potential benefits and risk of moving our markets from an off-chain environment to an on-chain one. American leadership in the digital financial revolution could be essential. I have directed the commission staff to update antiquated agency rules and regulations to unleash the potential of on-chain software systems in our securities markets. Federal securities laws have also assumed the involvement of intermediaries that require regulation, but this does not mean that we should interpose intermediaries for the sake of forcing intermediation where the market can function without them. Now, one of my biggest concerns, though, is a lot of these organizations, banking institutions, centralized entities, whatever, are going to try to bring, these RWAs or these assets or securities or whatever onto the tokenized blockchain. And they're going to use the people that they have already. They're going to use the software devs, the NOC engineers, the key developers that they already have that built their website and are helping secure their current ecosystem that are not tokenized. And they're not going to lean on experts, blockchain experts, smart contract experts and stuff like that. And they're going to mess up. And they're going to leave open these attack vectors by being stubborn and not wanting to pay these security experts and these tokenized experts and these smart contract experts to validate their system. I hope that most of them will and, contract that work out. Hey, we built this system. We're bringing all our financial, infrastructure onto blockchain to help keep it better secured. This is what we did. Can you please go through and audit it? Can you pen test it? Can you do whatever? Instead of just relying on what they have, because some of the gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, there's no disrespect to the current employees, but some of the ladies and gentlemen might be of the old camp. They know how to network, they know how to route, they know how to set up trunks and trees, and they know how to do a lot of things. But when it comes to blockchain, they may fail and leave various attack vectors or exploits open to where they can be, obviously exploited. So you're going to see a lot of jobs, and this is something I want you guys to do if you're looking for a job. You're going to see a lot of jobs, whether it's on LinkedIn or whatever, for crypto experts, smart contract analysts, or smart contract evaluators, pen testers for blockchain. Like a lot of jobs. Some of you have even sent some to me. Go ahead and get your feet wet. There's even classes you can take to become a blockchain expert or a crypto expert in various aspects, right? You can learn languages, coding languages, Rust, like in Caspa. You can learn, Ethereum's. Oh my God, what is the word eluding me to me right now? It starts with an S. Why can't I think of the word? Solidity. So learning these programs, the Solidity is a little bit harder, but learning these programs, even if you just do, like if you haven't messed with Python, mess around with Python, mess around with Unix, Linux, Ubuntu, get used to these environments, and maybe you might be able to get yourself a job in crypto, and it might be a job you love. So, but I hope these entities, right? These crypto trading platforms, banks, whatever they might be, will not be over ambitious and stubborn, saying, "Oh, we got this. My team's got this," and then their team leave a loophole. Could you imagine if Bank of America or some major bank didn't do their due diligence, pen test, check everything, make sure everything's good, and somebody was able to hack their system? That could be devastating. And again, the whole reason why Bitcoin was even born in the first place is because too much reliance on centralized entities like banks and governments is bad for the average human, the average American, the average citizen of whatever country. Hang on, Cam. I'll look at your question. I see it there. White House unveils crypto policy roadmap, mentors usher in the gold age. So just like the SEC is coming out with, basically clarity, updating the regulations for, the U.S. to become the crypto capital of the world, or whatever they want to call it. We have the White House continuing to bring out more policies, clarity, and structure. Now, Cam says, off topic, do you have a walkthrough for Caspa node set up on the iMac by any chance, or know anyone who has it? It would probably be, wouldn't it be Retro Mike, Cam B? Retro Mike is a colleague in the space. I'm not sure. I mean, Mac is Unix, so you might be able to use that to get you at. I do not personally have a walkthrough for setting up a Caspa node on specifically iMac or Apple environment. But Retro Mike might. I'm not sure if any of my other colleagues have done that. And yeah, not shut up, Retro Mike. Retro Mike was in the chat earlier. We're getting ready to wrap up here, ladies and gentlemen. Should I buy at 113K, says Star Gamer? Well, yeah. You should accumulate. I mean, I wouldn't go and bet your car note, your mortgage, your rent on buying as much Bitcoin as you possibly can right this second. But yeah, this is a nice little dip to accumulate a little bit. It could dip further, as I mentioned. If we go back to the chart, right, let's go back to the daily. Let's look at it. Let's actually go back to 4 hour. Right, let's reset the chart to auto. Right, we're dipping pretty good on the 4 hour. Right, we're dipping real good on the 4 hour. Right, we could dip down. Looks like 111 and 110. 110 is a very strong part right now. Look at that. There's multiple support structures there. So 110, 112 at the bottom of 112 at like 111.9 is like the bottom. Retro Mike says to Cam, he doesn't have any walkthroughs, but I can help if you need it. There you go. There you go. Cam, are you in the Discord? I know, by the way, don't forget, members of the channel, I'm going to randomly pick one of you probably later today after I go see my mom, and I will be dropping a message on YouTube this weekend sometime, probably tomorrow, after I have to go with the missus to go spread her stepdad's ashes over the beach. Yeah. Life sucks. But anyways, going back to your question, Star Gamer, yeah, I would accumulate. If I had the money right now, $20 here, $50 there, $100 here. But yeah, we could It looks like we're pushing down a little bit. And Monday we might fall a little bit, but yeah, so you're looking at 111, 112,000, like the flat line. Like if we bump all the way down to 112,000 and we break through that, then 110 is your next target. And then if we break through that, and this is on the short-term time frames, but if we break through 110, then like 106 looks really strong. 106,000. But we might not go to 94K. We might not go to 94K. You can see on the 4-hour, we're printing a green dot here. Maybe we'll get a green dot in a line, like right here, as you can see on the bottom of my screen, 2 green dots in a line. And look what preceded that, right? So there's the last green dot, and then next thing you know, we popped off. But that doesn't mean that's always going to happen. That doesn't mean that's always going to happen. Like, I think here's another one, but instead we fell further. We did blast off eventually, but we fell further before we blast off. Here's another one. Nice little run up, very short-term run up. But that's not always a guarantee. All right, moving on. What else we got? People are believing XRP to become the next Bitcoin. A lot of hype around XRP right now. XRP is still sitting around $2.83. I'm not sure if it's going to be the next Bitcoin, but there's a lot of bullish sentiment behind XRP. And for those holding XRP, you could see some opportunities there. Looks like there's going to be there's a bullish divergence that was posted, possible bullish diversion that was posted yesterday. And some indicators are looking pretty nice and spicy for XRP. People are looking for a breakout. But again, if Bitcoin and the markets are uncertain, things could pull back even further next week. A surprising U.S. stock correlation suggests altcoin season is far from over. Because Bitcoin is trading like a tech stock, things are suffering, but nothing is over. Everything will be A-okay. Please make sure you guys go and check out some of the videos that are posted if it interests you. If it doesn't interest you, it would be nice if you just swing through and hit that like button on it at least. I know I'm not making the hottest. I know I'm not able to, show a little nipple and get everybody excited. Maybe show some ass to get some more subscribers. But some of the content, I do my best to just make for helping out a single individual, a group of individuals, whatever. Again, I've been doing some automotive content. I know that's not your cup of tea, but it does answer some questions when people are getting ready to change out their valve cover on a Dodge Journey or getting ready to work on brakes on their Subaru or whatever. So I put those videos out. I was supposed to put them on SerpentX Media, the secondary channel, but that channel doesn't have anything. And I figured these would be best on this platform because they will actually get some viewers, even if it is only a couple. But Red Panda Mining is going live. I don't have anything else for you all. I thank you very much for your time. Members, if you pay attention to the post or the channel community tab or my X, I will find you. I will get a hold of you. You members should be in Discord already if you're not. But yeah. All right. So Cam B, you do great. Oh, thank you, Cam. I hope you and RetroMike can figure it out. And kind of go from there. RetroMike is good people's, good person to be subscribed to. Crypto Bedell has been doing some fun crypto news lately, and all of you guys have been absolutely lovely. So I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Red Panda Mining is still not live. Let's refresh real quick. Come on, Red Panda, go live. So he's got 24 people literally sitting in this channel. Instead of hanging out with us, sitting in this channel, not watching and supporting us. 24, like the pirate who doesn't care about crypto news. He likes mining, he likes tech, he likes overclocking, he likes LN2, exotic cooling. He doesn't care for crypto news and crypto, I guess, trading type of stuff. But would be nice to have him back. But yeah, I need to get rocking and rolling, ladies and gentlemen. I am tired, and I got some things I need to do. So I'm going to send you on over to Red Panda Mining. Please do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button. Make sure to get subscribed, hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. And yeah, I'll catch you later on, okay? Take care.